What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Jalil, and I am back with another video, and from a brand new setup. Now, if you guys watched my last video, you know exactly why the setup looks different. I just moved from my temporary housing to my more permanent apartment in San Francisco. Now, this is a huge step for me because I've never owned my own apartment in my entire life. So it's crazy, you know, that I'm 23 years old and now I have my own spot to myself and I'm paying for it. So yeah, to be in this position, I'm honestly beyond blessed, but I really want to tell you guys about how I could get into this position. That's what this whole channel is about, right? I'm giving you guys a video every week. I'm telling you, I'm trying to stay consistent. This place isn't even fully unpacked yet, and I'm still giving y'all a video. If y'all look right behind, if you could see right behind you, it's just a whole pile of boxes right behind you, but I ain't care. I'm just gonna give y'all this video. All right, so today we're gonna be talking about my experience building my startup and specifically 7 lessons that I learned from those 2 years co-founding a startup. So if you guys are interested in starting your own thing, or you're on the boundary of really getting into your own startup or building a company, then you're gonna wanna watch this video because I learned a whole lot in those 2 years that I wish people told me earlier. So here it is in this video, let's get into it. All right, so lesson number 1, test your assumptions as soon as possible. Test your ideas as soon as possible. If you're like me and my co-founder, new ideas are gonna pop into your head every week. The thing is, how do you know which ideas are worth pursuing and which ideas you shouldn't consider? Well, the best way to figure that out is to figure out what people think about those ideas. And I don't just mean, you know, go say like, hey, I'm trying to do this, what do you think of it? Because people are most likely just gonna try to be supportive and say, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. No, I mean really try to create some sort of mimicry of what you're trying to build and put that in front of people and see if they actually click on it or they're interested in it or they sign up for it, whatever it is. That will give you a much clearer indicator of how much people actually like what you're trying to build. So there's 2 really good ways to figure out if your idea is valid or not. The first idea is a non-tech or low-tech solution. Other people call this a Wizard of Oz prototype. This is essentially where you make an interface that looks like the real thing, but in reality, you're the person pulling all of the strings. So say you're making a peer-to-peer matching service that match people up for coffee chats automatically. Instead of coding a whole algorithm that did that thing, create a Google sign-up form, create some sort of landing page that says what it's gonna do, have people sign up, and then you can manually match the people. That way you're not wasting a whole bunch of time building out the back end and all types of complex technical things that you could completely avoid if this idea isn't even worth pursuing. The second way is, and I kind of mentioned this in the last way, is just to make a landing page and see what types of reactions you get from the landing page. Say what it is that you're building, what it's gonna do, how it's gonna solve people's problems, and put a sign-up form at the end of it and see how many sign-ups you get. If people are signing up for it, then that means there's a demand for your product. But if no one's signing up or very little people are signing up, then you might want to rethink your idea. When you're still super anxious to build something, you just want to get it up and running and you have this elaborate idea in your heads of how it's going to go, sometimes you just need to take a step back and evaluate whether that's the right idea or not. Lesson number 2 is to identify what the problem that you're solving, not the solution. Your solution can change so many times. And I've seen a lot of co-founders get discouraged because their initial solution didn't work out. Now, the solution can change, but the root problem that you're trying to solve, that typically stays very consistent. And as long as that problem still exists, then there's opportunity for you as a co-founder and business person to solve that problem and make some money off of it. And when you identify with your problem, the solution is much better, because now you're really empathizing with your users and your customers. You know exactly what you need to build to solve that. Versus you identify with a solution like, oh, I have this good idea, let me go find people who have a problem that this solution can be used for. You see how backwards that is? But that's what a lot of founders do with their startups. And that's a mistake that is very commonly made. So make sure you identify with the problem. Okay, so lesson number 3 is to listen to your customers' often. User feedback is the core of user-centered design. If you guys are designers, you know that. But customer feedback is the core of business design. They're very similar. Design and business is very similar. They're very intertwined. As a founder, you need to be the expert on what the problem is that you're trying to solve. And you need to understand the people who have this problem, and that will make sales a lot easier. That'll make your pitching a lot easier. That'll make building your solution a lot easier. Everything's gonna be easier once you really understand the problem deeply and you empathize with the people that you're gonna be selling to. So I would recommend setting a goal for the number of customers you wanna talk to each week as you're building your startup. It doesn't have to be a big number, at least talk to one person. That way you're keeping yourself grounded in the problem that you're trying to solve and you're not getting too caught up in your mind and how extravagant the solution can be. Now, as entrepreneurs, we tend to love to do all the talking and talking about our product and what we're building. But in customer interviews, when you're talking to your customers, you want to shut up and let the customer do the talking. So here are some of the questions I love to ask my potential customers, and you guys can take this verbatim and just say it to your customers as well. What is your biggest struggle with whatever the problem is? Why is this a struggle? What workarounds have you tried? Is solving this problem important to you? And why is it important? What is this problem costing you? This question is getting at, is it costing you money? Is it just expensive in terms of time? Are you unable to accomplish other goals because you have this problem? What exactly is it costing you? Okay, lesson number 4 is do not hire people until you absolutely need to. Hiring and managing a team is a whole beast on its own. They have people whose whole profession is around hiring and managing people. At this point, your goal is just to create a product that is in fit with whatever market you're trying to target. You're trying to just make a good product that can sell. That's your whole goal right now as a founder. Now, a lot of companies try to hire too early and end up failing because of it. So there are a couple of reasons why you don't want to hire somebody until it's absolutely necessary. Number 1 is because it's expensive. You have to pay them. Unless they're working for free, it's going to be expensive. Second reason is because it's just too many cooks in the kitchen. The more people you add to your team, the harder it's going to be to reach a decision and move quickly. And reason number 3 is because it can just get distracting overall. It detracts from your original mission of trying to build a successful product that can sell. And now it's focused towards other things like keeping the team morale high, culture building, mentorship, and all of these other things that your employees are gonna want from you, but you won't be able to give them because your hands are tied. You have too many things to do. Lesson number 5 is prioritize, prioritize, and prioritize. As a founder, you're going to have so many new things popping up on your plate that you can do, things that you can work on. You're not gonna know exactly which direction you're supposed to be going, and it's gonna be very chaotic if you let it. I'm not saying that you can completely tame the chaos, but ruthless prioritization is going to be a key factor in helping you tame that chaos. So me personally, I like to keep a table of tasks that pop up in my head. And as they pop up in my head, I'll just write them down on the table. I like to use a Notion document. And on this Notion document, I'll have 3 columns. 1 column for the name, 1 column for how much value it's going to bring to the business. Is it going to get me customers or is it going to make me money? And then the 3rd column is difficulty. How hard is it to accomplish this task? Now I'll sort these from most value to least value and easiest to hardest. The things that provide the most value and are the easiest, those are the things I'm going to do first. The things that provide the least value and are the hardest, those are the things I'm going to do last. And spoiler alert, most of the time, those low value and difficult things to do never end up getting done anyway, which is fine because you don't need to do it. But it's easy in the startup life to get caught up doing busy work because no one's really telling you what to do. You have to figure it out yourself. So make sure you prioritize. Okay, and lesson number 6 is don't wait until you feel ready. There is never a single point in your life, and this is just a life lesson more so than a startup lesson, but there is rarely going to be any point in your life where you feel 100% ready to do anything. In the startup life specifically, there's going to be a lot of times where you feel like your back's against the wall where you're put in positions where you have to perform and where you're giving opportunities where it might be a little nerve-wracking to do, but you'll just have to do it. And you'll realize that you didn't actually need to feel ready in the first place. Throughout the majority of my startup journey, I did not feel ready to be a co-founder at all. But that doesn't mean I wasn't able to accomplish the job that needed to get done. That doesn't mean I wasn't a good co-founder. It just means mentally I didn't feel ready. And you'll have to realize that a lot of the things blocking you from your blessings in life is just mental barriers. It's just you thinking that you can't do it or thinking that you're not fit to do it. When in reality you are. You just need to switch the beliefs. Now, it's tempting to push these difficult things off until you feel ready, but it's better to mess up quickly and learn from your mistakes. The biggest mistake you can make is to be afraid of making mistakes. Someone who's not afraid to mess up and makes hella mistakes is gonna learn way more than you will if you're just walking around eggshells all the time. Now, I'm actually gonna post a video on this topic where I go in depth on how these beliefs are really limiting you and how you can overcome those limiting beliefs and become the person you really want to be. Okay, and lesson number 7 is your relationship with your co-founder is paramount. That is the most important thing you're going to have in the company. You and your co-founder should both be fully driven to bring this vision to reality. Now, our company, it didn't die because the idea was bad. It didn't die because we ran out of money. It died because my co-founder couldn't continue to work due to a buildup of stress, anxiety, instability of the workload and everything. But I didn't know that because I didn't communicate with him effectively. Even though we talked every day about the business, we never talked on that real high level. How do you feel about the business? How do you feel overall just in your life? Do you feel like you have good balance? Are you worried about this? Do you feel like we can accomplish this? Where's your mental at? Now, asking these sorts of questions will help you and your co-founder work together a lot more effectively because you guys will be able to empathize with what each other is going through. And that's the video. It's a quick one today. I'm trying to make these videos quicker so that they're just easier to digest, just jam-packing a whole bunch of information into a short little time span. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. I'm out.